Welcome my good smiling friends, Ify here. Today I'm going to do something that you will probably enjoy because I haven't done a video about fragrances inspired by more popular fragrances or clones lately. I wasn't that much into clones anymore because there were so many companies releasing clones. But this time I decided to do it because the people who sent me these fragrances are also the producers, the factory that are producing Insomnia by Fabiola Seferi. I also reviewed this one and I presented it as an alternative or a fragrance inspired by Black Phantom by Kilian. The fragrance kind of became successful and became famous. It's a pretty good clone, I have to say. I know that these fragrances are coming from Bulgaria, which are Romanian's neighbors, and I wanted to review these fragrances for the people who are living in that side of Europe, because fragrances in that side of the continent are not so accessible, so cheap, so much available like they are in the West, like they are in UK for example, or even in the States. So I wanted to let people who are living in that area know about these fragrances. Also the Bulgarians who maybe don't know about this brand, and also the people living in UK, because these guys are shipping in UK, and from what I've read it's free shipping for orders over 30 pounds. And they also sell other products like scented candles, diffusers and room sprays like this. This one is their version of Creed Aventus, and this one is their version of Creed Silver Mountain Water. I wanted something that I have smelled before many times from other companies, and I wanted to do like a comparison. This is the bottle. It's pretty simple, so definitely they didn't invest too much into the bottles, so I'm expecting a good juice. Okay, so the Atomizer is good. So far the bottles are practical. Not so much harshness as with Club de Nuit Intense Man, but definitely Aventus. Definitely smoky. Very generous atomizers, as you have probably seen. Not as metallic as I have smelled from other Silver Mountain Water clones. Definitely Creed Silver Mountain Water here. It has a bit of a sharp citrus in the opening. And now the one that I'm the most curious about, it's their private collection. I like the picture on the packaging, on the box. I like this colorful forest idea. It looks pretty nice. Once Upon a Time. Very generous atomizer again. And yes, this one it's pretty good. It's unisex. It definitely feels like it's somehow a niche perfume or a designer created by Tom Ford, something like that. I'm getting some familiar vibes, but I cannot actually place this fragrance right now. I cannot exactly say that this fragrance is inspired by another one. This is a good thing because they did mention that this is one of their own creations. The fragrance itself did leave, like, hopefully you can pick this up, a glowing scent trail on my arm, which is a sign that this is a concentrated perfume. It has a lot of oil and it feels pretty strong. Woodsy, spicy fragrance, probably ambery, slightly powdery, but also some sweetness in here. I will definitely wear this one in the next couple of days and come back with an exact opinion about this one. Okay, so what you saw was footage from my initial impression video. I wanted to make two separate videos, one with the initial impression and the second one after wearing each and one of the fragrances and giving you a full review on them. But while editing the first video, I was finding it more and more difficult to pick up the smell on the places I have initially sprayed the fragrances. Initial spray was pretty strong, so I thought it has some strength to it, but it didn't seem like it's going to last. So right now I have on my right arm, I have the Martinez version of Creed Silver Mountain Water, and on my left hand I have Armav's Derby Clubhouse Blanche. I don't want to make a comparison, I just wanted to test the quality of the fragrances on the initial spray. And at first, again, the Martinez version seems much stronger, but the quality is different. And in Armaf, you can get that metallic tea note, which I personally like, but if you are not a fan of that, the Martinez version does not have it. Instead, it's replaced with a sharp citrus, which helps the fragrance project better in the first half an hour, let's say half an hour, because afterwards there are just traces left from this scent. The same with their version of Creed Aventus. And upon initial spray, it smells like Creed Aventus, but it's not of a high quality. I mean, I'd rather have fruity batch Aventus colognes instead of smoky ones, because again, none of these companies have managed to recreate that smokiness. Instead, what I'm picking up from this smokiness, and not just in the Martinez version, also with the ones from Pineapple Vintage, which are much more expensive and of a higher quality, what I'm picking up from the smokiness, it's like a bad pineapple, a pineapple which has been sitting in the sun a bit. But yeah, this one does smell like Creed Aventus, while it smells, because also it goes away very fast. I mean, it does stay on clothes a bit longer, double the time, even triple, but even so, it doesn't go past 3 hours. Even on clothes, I'm having difficulties with this fragrance. Not only this, but this one as well. And it doesn't feel like of a higher quality than what I've smelled before. Actually, these are one of the worst colognes I have smelled so far. At this price, I would say that there are definitely better options, especially here in the UK, where there are so many companies producing colognes and perfumes inspired by, which are cheaper and much better. For example, even the Milton Lloyd colognes are much better than these ones, and here in UK they are cheaper. And for them to try to enter now the UK market with these colognes, I don't think it's a good idea, because there's Perfume Parlor also in UK, which is one of the best companies. You can find almost any scent, any popular scent in there at a very reasonable price. And this is my opinion on their cheaper versions or their perfumes inspired by, because they also have the private collection, okay? And with the private collection, it's an entirely different story. The difference in price is not that high. These ones, I believe they were about £15 each, and this one was about £35. At this price, I mean, these are a waste of money, because this one, it's like comparing David Beckham fragrances to Amouage fragrances. It's that big of a difference. I'm not even joking or exaggerating here. And one more thing, these two are very linear. I mean, from the first burst, which has alcohol and that citrus, which is prominent, then it stays very linear, and not for a long time again. This one, not only does it smell better, it smells niche-like, it performs much better, and it changes, it doesn't stay linear. It opens up very fruity and sweet. It has plum in the opening, which gives it that fruity sweetness. It also has vanilla, which amps up the sweetness. It's unisex, very unisex. It's floral. It has a violet in there, which gives the fragrance a lot of powderiness. To my nose, the powdery effect in the fragrance kind of tones down the sweetness, and from distance, it makes it feel like freshness. But when you smell the fragrance up close, it feels very powdery. But even that phase goes away, and in the more dry down, you're getting like a ambery smoothness, still some traces of that violet, but here it's much toned down, and the sweetness again toned down, because you're left with a vanilla note, and it's basically, it feels like an ambery, slightly floral, vanilla sweet fragrance, and in a way which smells like, to my nose at least, it smelled like a more unisex version of Bentley for Men Intense. In the opening, the first time I've sprayed it, I couldn't say that it instantly reminded me of another fragrance, but in the very dry down, it did. And that's the fragrance, Bentley for Men Intense. My final conclusion, guys, is that I don't recommend they're inspired by versions coming in these bottles because they don't last, and my opinion is that it's a waste of money, and it's weird that it's so different, this from this or this from this, because they are the same creators. And that was it. That was my first impression and my full impression on these fragrances. If you have tried any from them, leave a comment below. Until the next video, keep smelling great.